if this doesn't work out, how much worse can my life get?
Welcome to The Blueprint, guys. I'm your host, Chika Chukudabello, and today's episode features the beauty entrepreneur, Myleik Teele. She's the founder and CEO of Curlbox, a beauty subscription business where customers pay a monthly fee for the curation of new hair care products for curly girls. Now I know, some of you may be thinking, I don't have curly hair, or I'm not trying to create a subscription business, but trust me, don't check out just yet. We purposefully try to release episodes that have takeaways for everyone regardless of what your particular path is. And I think you'll find that today's episode is no different. Myleik's journey to entrepreneurship started with a set of less than perfect circumstances.
I started Curlbox, oh my gosh, we were coming up on our 3-year anniversary, so I would say I started working on it about 8 months before I launched it. And I was maybe 31 at the time, so I was kind of like just over that hump of turning 30, like that strange space that you go to. Like, I'm not in my 20s, but I'm still not really grown yet. And I've tried a career or two, and I'm still not really fulfilled. And I was at a low point, meaning I had moved from Los Angeles to Atlanta to live with a guy, and things didn't work out. And so I had just kind of moved out, and in moving out, I had nothing. So I had limited furniture. I mean, I remember going and buying a can opener. I mean, those are the kind of things that you're like, geez, I have nothing. But there's something about having nothing that gives you the kind of takes away the fear of failing. You know, you're kind of like, what do I have to lose at this point? Like, I don't even have a can opener.
And it's in this low place that true inspiration hit Myleik.
Through the beauty press is how I got the idea. Through the beauty press and through the online press and the app press is how I sort of got the culmination of the idea to do something beauty focused. And the main thing was for it to be beautiful, because I've always felt that hair care products and the hair experience for women of color, Black women specifically, it just was never as glamorous as I felt like it should be, considering the amount of money that is spent in this space. You know, it's like, imagine if you bought Gucci products and you walked into the Gucci store and it was horrible. That's kind of our experience. We're spending hundreds of dollars, you know, on a service or on products without the glamour or attention that it deserves.
Now, for a lot of entrepreneurs, getting started can be the hardest part. The imagination works overtime thinking about all the things you have to lose by starting a new venture. But when there's nothing to lose, there's also nothing holding you back from making bold moves.
Having nothing, while it appeared to be one of the hardest points in my life, it was the freedom. You know, I wasn't attached to anything. I know what it's like. It took away my fear as a business owner today, is that I do what feels good to me, and I don't do things because I have a fear of losing everything. You know, a lot of times people make decisions based on, well, I'm living here, everybody knows this is where I live, I drive this kind of car, I dress like this, I eat there. That was gone. So once that's gone, it's like, well, what do I have to lose? Like, I remember saying to myself, like, if this doesn't work out, how much worse can my life get?
So once she settled on the fact that she was going to make this company happen, everything around her started coming together to help her out in ways she never would have imagined.
People don't know this, but my logo, I was at the tire shop. Like, I was getting my tires changed because they always seem to be going flat. And I was talking to a friend that designed, you know, logos for a lot of my clients. And she and I were just talking, catching up, like, haven't heard from you in a while. So I was like, yeah, I'm getting my tires changed, and I've got this idea for this company, and I'm trying to get the logo done, but it's just not working. And I had tried like a lower priced company because it was like, I can't afford to spend a ton of money on this. I don't have it. And so she was like, well, what are you thinking about? So I was telling her what the company would be and what I was looking for. And so she was like, well, send me like your inspiration, like mood board. So I did. I went home and I sent her, you know, my inspiration and mood board. And she literally emailed me back the Curlbox logo that day, 2 versions. The exact, she sent me one with the gold curl pink box and pink box gold curl. That was it. And so she was like, and then she emailed me and was like, hey girl, if this ever takes off, just shoot me, like, don't worry about paying me. Just, if it ever takes off, just shoot me some money. Same thing for the photos we used on the site. A guy that went to college with me is a photographer and a music video producer, pretty popular. And so I reached out to him to be able to use 3 photos. So he was like, I was like, what do I owe you for the use of these photos? He was like, nothing, like just use them. So when I tell you that, like, it's like when they say when you step out, the universe conspires, like, to make sure that it happens. Like I said, I could go on and on with the way, like, everything just seemed to fall in place. Like, it was so flawless, it was scary.
But it wasn't all perfect. Early on, there was a lot of controversy over customers' expectations of Curlbox. The war played out on social media, and customers aired their grievances on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Handling that criticism was a learning experience for Myleik.
The storms really came by way of the sort of reaction of a lot of women online when I started the company. I started it purely from a space of, like, goodness, like wanting to be able to help women and, reaching out to a lot of brands that haven't necessarily marketed to women of color, are afraid to market to women of color because of how vocal we can be. And I got firsthand experience in people and really kind of mistreating me. And so I didn't really understand that at first. Like, it baffled me that, I had sacrificed all this time and made all this effort and tried to introduce something to the space that was really beautiful. And I would get, like, I would wake up in the morning and I would have, like, people tweeting me craziest things ever, terrible things about me. I would have people commenting on my Instagram about how terrible I was. And I would have people doing YouTube videos, which still exist, about how I was a thief and I was this and that. And I don't know that you can ever be prepared for it. And I remember that I would, like, watch celebrities and see them say things like, you'll never understand what it's like to be on the other side of someone talking badly about you until it's you. And, these are complete strangers. And you're like, how is this happening? And it seems like it never stops. And, my first reaction was the worst reaction, where I just kind of clapped back. I was angry. I was upset. Like, there are some celebs that we know today that do that. And then I decided to go get some professional help. I checked into psychotherapy, and the therapist was just like, help me understand that this is not about me. Like, people writing me negative things, like, that is not about me. That is about them. It's like what you say says more about you than the person. And I didn't really understand that. And so I began to have some sympathy for those people. And so when people do that, even to this day, if they write me something or if they say something, I'm kind of just like, I feel bad for them that they are feeling this way about me in their life, because, they really don't know me. They know what they think they know. And so I can't get upset with people who are judging me based on, 140 characters or a photo or, anything like that. So, yeah.
After taking a long, hard look at herself, Myleik realized that some of her own behaviors were what was holding her back.
What I've learned over time is how to deal with people when I don't like what they've done. I was the queen of the cutoff, and I'm not going to say that everybody, like, that cutting people off is not, some people need to be cut off. But I think, what I would do is sort of, I was silencing myself, and I didn't realize that, is that I was basically taking away my own voice. And just kind of cutting people off, I wasn't saying this hurt me, or this made me feel this, or, all the things that I probably could have said and maybe maintained some relationships, or maybe gotten a little bit further. And so I think that at this age, I've learned to do that, is to say, I don't like this, or versus just saying, like, I'm never talking to this person again, I'll replace them. I was definitely that girl.
Her experiences over the last 10 years have taught Myleik the importance of treating those around you well.
Now, today at 35, I think that when you've had the experience of being at the absolute bottom in terms of, like, a career space, and you were humble in that space, you can appreciate every single thing. You can appreciate every experience that you have, and you can also, it makes me a great business owner because I know what it's like to be an assistant, so I try to treat my assistant well. You know what I'm saying? Like, I try to treat her very well. I'm also very hard on her, but I try to treat her well because there are places that I felt like I could have been treated better. I probably would still be an assistant if I was treated better.
Now that she's become a mentor to other young women, she takes that role very seriously.
I try to help young women of color because I felt like I didn't get as much help from women that look like me. And so I feel like a lot of times women tend to feel threatened. You know, someone younger that's good is coming up under you and you feel threatened. And so you try to tear them down versus pulling them up. And, you know, they're going to help you as you help them.
The importance of her life's purpose was brought home after experiencing the most permanent kind of loss.
Right before I moved to Atlanta, it was probably the reason why I decided to move to Atlanta. I was working for Travis Barker, the tattoo drummer, and he had a plane crash, and my friend and coworker, his assistant, died in that crash. And I remember saying to him, like, he had gotten married, I think sort of like maybe 8 months before, and his son had his first birthday, like a couple months before the crash, and he had finally had his first vacation after his wedding. Like, he went on a honeymoon, and I remember it was like his first like suntan, like all over. And I remember seeing like a picture of him relaxing, and I was like, dude, like, you have got to do more of that. Like, you're so good, but you have got to do more living. And he would just kind of be like, and we would talk about it all the time. And after he died, I was like, now I've got to take my own advice, because it wouldn't have been uncommon for me to be with him. I used to travel with the clients all the time. And so that was the moment where I was like, you know what, like, could have been there. Life flashes before my eyes. I saw someone who works his tail off, and I should have, you know, it's something that I needed to take heed of, you know. And so that was the thing that kind of made me say, you know what, screw what people think about me and where I'm supposed to be and where I went to college and what I look like and who my husband is or isn't. I got to live this life. And so I did.
Through her journey with Curlbox, Myleik has found an important piece of her life's purpose.
I definitely feel like I found my purpose, one of them anyway, and I think that my desire to help women in terms of like bringing beauty to their lives and encouraging trial, because a lot of what Curlbox does is encourage women to try things that they probably wouldn't have. So sometimes we get calls or we get emails or even people say, I didn't think this was for me, you know. It's not in the section that, you know, the stores limit you to one section, when it's like you can shop everywhere. And so we try to bring all kinds of products that we know work that just aren't marketed to you or are not put on those few shelves. And so in starting with that in mind, I think that we have worked to change lives, to just get people to be open about lots of other things. You know, it's like, what else have I walked past that I didn't think was for me? What else have I not done that I didn't think was for me? And being able to, I put myself out there as the founder of the company because I wanted people to know that there was someone that looked like them that was putting this together for them. And I just started to share my journey in hopes that anybody who had entrepreneurial thoughts could understand the process and not be afraid, because there's nothing to be afraid of. And so I think that is how I've kind of found my purpose in service.
We've heard it on this show before, the connection between being of service and finding your life's purpose. The more interviews we do, the more it's hard to deny their inextricable link. Now, I'm not saying that one causes the other, but they do seem to be found in the same place very often. What's been your experience? What gaps have you set out to fill only to find that you just may have found your life's purpose? Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you had absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain? Tell us your story. Click on the Contact Us tab on our website, www.blueprintshow.com. You can also tweet us at ShowMeBlueprint or find us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/BlueprintShow. Now, if you want to make sure you never miss an episode of The Blueprint, make sure you subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. If you like us, go ahead and give us your best rating and review. That's it for this episode of The Blueprint. From myself, Chika Chukudibelu, and The Blueprint Show producer, Sonata Lee Narcissus, we want to encourage you to keep drafting your blueprint. Tune in 2 weeks where we'll hear from another visionary like yourself.